Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tooth and Claw Podcast. We have our bear biologist, Wes Larson, with us. And he's not going to talk much because this episode's not exclusively for subscribers, so he doesn't care. But me and Mike care about all you other people, so...
I got in trouble last week.
I'm Wes's brother, Jeff, and then we have Mike.
What's up?
Wes, what'd you get in trouble for?
Well, so I was doing this story, the whale ship Essex, and when I first thought of it, I thought, oh, this will be a two-parter. And I kind of thought, I just want to end when they get rescued. And then as I was reading the book, I was like, oh, there's still like some interesting stuff after they get rescued. Kind of felt like an epilogue to me. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do like an epilogue episode for our subscribers and call it part 3. And, I think rightfully so, a lot of our non-paid listeners got a little upset about that and thought that I was cheating them out of a part 3. And I think part of that was my fault for not explaining it well enough and kind of saying like, hey, this is how I always had this designed, was a 2-parter that ended at this point. And this was just extra content for our subscribers to kind of give them a special treat. But I did a bad job explaining it. And I don't blame them for being a little upset because I didn't want to do like a rug pull on anyone. I love our non-paid listeners a lot.
It's like if
he does. Yeah. He can't stop talking
Caller
about
Daddy had Jessie on to talk about her divorce and then made you subscribe to listen to her talk about Taylor Frankie Paul's Bachelor getting suspended.
Sure. Yeah.
Who?
I think that's exactly what it's like.
Actually, let's not get into it. I don't really. Yeah. Jesse, that really threw me there for a sec. I was like, wait.
I did feel bad, though. When I saw some of the comments, I thought, I didn't think this through well enough. And
did our subscribers go up?
They did. Yeah. We got a lot of new subscribers.
Well, then, nothing to apologize for.
And we do. I mean, like, we want to give our subscribers, like, special, really good content. But I don't want it to feel like it's a trick, And I do think that's what some people felt like. And I hope you guys understand my explanation, that it wasn't ever intended to be that. So I'm sorry that it felt that way. Truly.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Are you not a subscriber? Subscribe, you'll figure it out. It was a great episode. No, that was well said, Wes.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, we won't do that again, but there will be some really nice. Okay. There will be some really nice bonuses for our subscribers. But what I mean when I say we won't do it again is we'll be more clear in the like the start about how it's going to be laid out.
Yeah. I mean, everything's going to be crypto soon anyways, maybe, So might as well. Dollars don't even matter, so you might as well subscribe.
We should be buying Chinese yuan or whatever their money's called. That's what we should be buying.
That's what we
right
should
now.
Make people subscribe with.
Yeah, I agree.
Or gas. You have to
petrodollars.
Gas.
Yeah, invest in gas. I'm trying to short the market on gas. I'm buying all of it and storing it in little canisters in my garage.
I've heard some high up people have been doing that too.
Oh, really? I didn't know that was a thing. I'm a high-end person, kind of. Is what that's.
Well, I mean, like politicians, like the top.
I'm not one of those. Top men, as they say in Indiana Jones. Top men.
Well, let's get moving then. We're going to be talking about the 7 continents because we recently just got back from Antarctica, which was all of our 7th continent, and we've been together for most all of it. The only one I've been to without you, Wes, was Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Mike got all 7 in like 2 years, which is kind of crazy.
Together.
It's impressive.
Yeah. Arm in arm.
So started with Australia and just kept going, Yeah.
Probably started with North America, I would say.
That's true. I would say that was your
But I don't remember. I don't remember all
started
of
with Pangea.
Friendship. That's true. We need to go way back. Do you think all those animals back then were like all one continents, baby? We did it.
Yeah, we did it. They're holding like a little flag and taking a photo.
Yeah, and then a comet hit the Earth and killed everyone.
I don't think that's how Pangea.
And that's how the continents split apart.
before we get into it, we're going to be talking about like our personal experiences with each of the 7 continents, as well as just like some general knowledge we know about them.
We're ranking quite a bit of stuff.
Huh?
We're ranking quite a bit of stuff on the different
ranking.
7 continents. Yeah.
Before we do that, I want to use one of the things I had you guys prep for right now and just kind of talk about some of our biggest blind spots that we have as far as like the continents go.
Yeah, sure.
I wrote a whole list of blind spots.
Let's just have you go for it because I think you're going to have a better wildlife blind spot radar than us.
Let me do a couple that you guys have for blind spots, and then I'll do some that are for all of us. The Arctic for you both is a big blind spot. Haven't been to the Arctic yet. That's
the
a big
same
one.
as Antarctica.
It's definitely not. It's very different. The cloud forest of South America are a pretty big one for you guys. And then have either of you been to the Everglades? Spent much time in the Everglades?
Not a ton, but I've been there. Yeah.
Okay. That's a big one in North America that is just like a very unique ecosystem for us. For all of us, like mountainous East Africa is a place that's really high on all of our lists. So like Uganda, Rwanda, that area. We haven't seen gorillas. We haven't seen chimpanzees. So those are some pretty iconic animals that we're missing.
Some good snakes in there.
My favorite, my number one bird probably right now is there, the shoebill stork. Some amazing snakes.
There's that one hotel in Rwanda. Have you seen that?
Hotel Rwanda? Yeah, that's not necessarily a place we need to visit, but maybe, it would probably be good for us to visit it. I think we should visit it, sure.
Yeah, that's like the one thing I know about that place.
Western Australia is a big one. Some really cool animals out there and just cool wildlife and marine wildlife out there. The Asian steppe. So we've talked about going to like Mongolia or one of the stands. That big, high central part of Asia has really cool, unique wildlife. That's a big one. There's a bunch, but those are some of the biggest that I thought of.
Pretty much all the Middle East for me.
Yeah. China.
China.
Southeast Asia. Yeah, we are. But China's like, there's so much cool wildlife in China, and we're just going to get
avatars.
Yeah.
Sure.
What are you talking about? What's that mean?
The blue guys?
Yeah, that's not a real place, though. Pandora?
Well, the place is real.
With the floating islands?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pictures of that all the time.
Well, it's based off of a real place. Sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, if you want to get logistical.
I do. Yep. So those are some hot spots. There's others too, but those are just some I thought off the top of my head. We didn't really do a Europe one. Let's throw a Europe one in there. Romania. We haven't been to Romania. It's a good spot for bears. Vampires are there. And Scandinavia too.
Allow that and not avatars?
I believe in vampires. I don't believe in Pandora.
All right. Well, Mike, choose a continent.
Europe.
Europe? All right. We'll start with Europe then.
I've been thinking a lot about Vienna sausages.
Okay.
I kind of split up the way that we're all going to talk about it. And I assigned Wes to talk about bears, snakes, and birds.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 Bs.
Yeah, BBS.
Or not to be.
Sounds like a
BBS,
surgical procedure.
And then I'm going to be talking about, I forget what I'm talking about. Something.
No.
Cats. Dogs.
Cats, dogs, and bugs. And not too much about bugs, just so you guys know.
All right.
And then Mike's going to be talking about mythological, prehistoric, and oceans, which I didn't give him too specific of a thing. I told him, if you find anything interesting in there, just go heavy on that, you know? So.
Did we ever clap?
We did clap.
Yeah, we clapped.
You want to restart?
You want to clap?
No.
Just to make sure?
No.
Yeah, let's do it. Count us down, Jeff.
On 1. 3, 2, 1.
All right. We're good. We good, Wes?
Yeah, I just didn't think we had clapped.
Let's
My bad.
clap once more.
All right.
All right, so I can kind of just start us off to give you guys kind of an idea of how to follow. All right?
Okay.
So Europe was, it seems like they used to be more exciting with their wildlife and got rid of most of their cool stuff with cats and dogs. So I just have the Liberian lynx, the Eurasian lynx, and the European wildcat for cats.
Yeah, Iberian lynx, not Liberian. Yeah,
librarian.
Well, it says Liberian in my notes.
Yep, your notes are wrong. It's Iberian.
And then
The Liberian Peninsula.
Yeah.
we've seen a Eurasian lynx. It's cool.
We have.
It is far away.
We
but
saw it in
pretty,
Asia. Yeah.
Pretty fluffy. Yeah, I mean, they don't really have anything too unique. European wildcats, maybe. I don't know much about
They are low on cats. Their cat population is very small cats, and not that many of them either.
And they're pretty low on dogs too.
Yeah, hotspots for Eurasian lynx would be in Europe, would be like in Scandinavia, Estonia, and then Iberian lynx you're gonna see in like Spain, sometimes Portugal. That's on the Iberian Peninsula. So yeah.
And as far as canines go,
Dogs.
or how do you say it? Candids?
Canids.
Canid.
Yeah.
Canids. Sorry,
Canids.
canids. Yeah.
Canids.
Jeff threw me off. Canids.
Canids. They do have gray wolves in like Scandinavia area and a little bit in like Spain and Italy.
Italy has them, yeah.
And then they have red
Romania.
fox.
Wolves are
So-
pretty widespread throughout Europe, actually.
Yeah. But honestly, for my part, not too excited. They get a low rating from that. And bugs, I don't know any European bugs.
You gotta have one bug. Are you serious? I just spent 16 hours whatever. I don't even care. It doesn't. I'm over it. I'm just gonna had a brief moment there. I think we're gonna be okay though.
Okay.
Oh boy. Okay, not a single bug in Europe. That actually sounds very pleasant. If they don't have a single insect in the entire continent.
Do you
Lots of
remember seeing a bug?
mantises. There's bugs over there, but I would agree with you,
See
Jeff.
a bug that you can remember.
I can't state a specific moment wherein I saw a bug. Cockroaches.
I can't remember
When I lived in France, my apartment was overrun. Say cockroach.
I'm doing bugs I saw, and I
Say
can't
it, Jeff.
remember
Say
any
cockroach.
bugs. I didn't see a cockroach.
You don't have to have seen them to say it for this.
Well, that's
thing,
what I'm
right?
doing for bugs.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, you did awesome work.
I will say,
so glad
like,
right now.
I do think Europe overall is one of the kind of least impressive wildlife continents. So I do agree that it is going to be a
Asia's
little
got
underwhelming.
cooler cockroaches.
That's a fact. Yeah, save it for Asia. So when we say Eurasian, are we talking, does that broadly cover just all of Europe and Asia? Is that what I'm supposed to believe from that portmanteau?
It depends on the species. So like Eurasian lynx, yeah, I mean they're found from Scandinavia all the way to I think like China.
It is kind of like an interesting conversation to have that's not going to be part of this episode, but just like how Asia and Europe are like the only two continents that are completely connected and just kind of a made up line through it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that was North and South America too. It's just the Panama Canal splits them now.
But there is kind of like
makes
an
a lot more
intuitive
sense.
little...
Yeah, but they were I mean, like that's how pumas and jaguars spread.
Yeah,
throughout
but
both
you know what
continents.
we're
But,
saying.
like, you
When
know
it
what
gets
we're
all
saying.
skinny and they're connected, it's like, okay, that looks like
I get what you're saying. Like
a natural
there's a
geographic,
natural
yeah.
Like when you
separation.
look on a
Yeah,
map,
but-
these two are unique.
Sure.
Right.
I think the tricky thing with North and South America is where Central America fits in, because like some people say it's North America, but then some people say it's kind of its own thing. I don't know. It's kind of tricky.
Yeah. No, I want to kind of bring that up. It is part of North America, though.
It is. Yeah.
Like, it's not its own continent, so we count that. But I kind of feel like we could easily have, like, 9 continents if
Yeah.
we made, like, the Middle East a continent and then made Central America a continent would make sense. But we don't.
Sure.
And we haven't.
Right.
Okay. So are we all doing Europe then for our categories?
Yeah.
Mike, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go, and it just makes sense to me to do it right now. Just a caveat on all of my categories, really, but specifically for water or marine sea life, because like
It ties really well into my bugs. that I ended
Yes,
with.
it's like hand in hand. But I just want to say that with like ocean life, these animals are often, most of the big charismatic animals everyone knows aren't really confined to one specific continent. So I just tried to pick the places where you have the best opportunity to see them. And some of this is like anecdotal. Some of this I tried to do as much research as I could. I did so much, Jeff. But with Europe, let's start with the water critters. So the first one that popped in my mind was the Portuguese man o' war. You gotta go with the man o' war.
That's good.
Portugal,
It's
it's in the
named
name.
after
Wes.
Portugal, though. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's a joke. We're going.
Okay.
So the best place to see blue sharks, and this is actually an exciting thing to me when we talked to Dan from All the Sharks. He said it's best off the Azores Islands or even off just the coast of the UK. There's some really good opportunity to get blue sharks. Weaver fish, incredibly dangerous and venomous. They got spines all up and down their back. A Wells catfish. This was featured on the first season of River Monsters. And Jeremy, he was just like, these probably couldn't kill an adult human, but they could easily swallow a child. So
These are all in Europe.
yeah, these are all
Where did your
European
goonch
based.
story happen, Wes?
That was in like the foothills of the Himalayas in India, not Gooch.
Not the gooch.
Close. Yeah. Can I throw one in there, Mike?
Please, as many as you can and want.
Basking sharks, the second biggest shark in the world, also filter feeding sharks. The best place in the world right now to find them is off the coast of Ireland. Don't you think?
I do.
And that was the one I wanted to throw in there. Basking sharks.
Yeah.
No snakes in Ireland, though.
Nope. They got
Yeah,
rid
they
of
got
them.
chased
didn't they?
off.
Old St. Patrick.
I'm going to move on to prehistoric now. That was another one of my categories. This is an interesting thing that I found. When I looked at the fossil map of recovered megalodon teeth, the
no
hot spots.
eels there either.
Did St.
There's
Patrick
eels.
get rid of those too?
Well, once they got all the snakes, they were like, well, these kind of look like snakes, and they kept
That's not true.
going into the ocean.
That's where eels came from, though, because they got chased into the ocean. They just turned into eels, right?
That's not true also. What were you saying about megalodon, Mike?
Yeah, so most of the fossil records, I just saw like the hot spots on the map. Europe was kind of like the biggest concentration of recovered megalodon fossils and teeth and stuff, which I thought was interesting. So the Meg Part 3 probably has got to happen over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Paris, that river.
The
gets
largest
sharks.
species of woolly mammoths, they existed while they were still alive. They're dead. Oh, the comet.
Really?
The comet got them too, Wes, right?
It wasn't the comet.
It was the comet.
It wasn't a comet that killed the dinosaurs either. It was an asteroid.
I'm going to try to be
All right.
more scientific from here on out. I'm
Okay.
joshing.
They're struck by a lot of human technology. We think like a lot of the megafauna, like it was like human-led extinction. So like spears and yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
Wes, you're a diehard mammoth fan.
I love mammoths. Yeah,
The hockey team.
the critter, not the hockey team. I don't really care about the hockey team.
What if a human threw a meteorite at one of the mammoths?
If they threw it hard enough and it was really sharp and attached to us like a long pole,
There you go.
then yes, I think it could kill it.
Anyway, like I was saying, the largest species of woolly mammoth existed in Western Europe, which I thought was kind of interesting. I always just kind of assumed that was maybe more of a North American thing or even an Asian side of things, but Europe. You guys had big stuff.
Yeah, that's where they think jaguars came from too. Is Europe, like their prehistoric remnants.
Gonna rattle off a few more here. The cave bear, the spear deer had these super long, awesome antlers. They're really cool. Coastal hyenas, Ibiza pygmy vipers, and marsh hogs. Yeah, marsh hog. Yeah, you got it.
I like how you say that.
And the marsh hog. Okay. And now let's delve into the mythological. This one. So I'm going to be talking about the Loch Ness Monster. This is just the thing that popped out when I was doing my research. And it's a pretty cool little creation story or origin story. So legend tells us that Loch Ness, the lake itself, not the monster yet, was created in anger by the Celtic winter queen, the goddess Dark Beira. When her maid Nessa was late to attend her duties, Beira raged and transformed Nessa into a river. You just gotta just be a river. That would suck.
That sounds
Right?
kind of nice. Isn't that
That's
like
like-
what Nirvana's supposed to be like?
So Nessa, this maid that
But
was
she's
turned into a
still
river.
the same woman as a river? Like she has like thoughts?
She's still conscious, yeah, because she eventually manages to escape the confines of just being a river. And she's like, I'm gonna also be a lake. So she became the Lake Nessa.
I would
Loch
date her,
Ness.
dude.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And this is where the Loch Ness Monster comes into play here. So as the myth tells it, Scotland's lakes and rivers are said to be home to kelpies and water horses, invoking some of the more famous imagery we know of the Loch Ness, kind of like with the...
It looks like a plesiosaur. Like that's what most of the Loch Ness imagery is like a plesiosaur.
And so these kelpies, they're shapeshifters. They can change into whatever form they want. And basically what they do is they patrol the forests of the Loch Ness in hopes of luring, unwitting men and women to their demise deep in the lake. So like they kind of goad them in, almost like a siren in Greek mythology, and they pull them down into the depths of the Loch Ness. And this is maybe
I always just thought it was like a big monster,
so
like a
it's
dinosaur
still
that
her?
lives in Loch Ness.
It's still a her. Well, the
And
lake
she's
is. I don't know
just
about
sucking
Nessie.
guys down.
That's one way to say it. But that's just like one version of the story. Like all of these myths I'm going to be covering, there's going to be a million different versions, but that was just the one I found to be most kind of beautiful and fanciful. Yeah.
All right. Well, as far as bears, snakes, and birds are considered, I ranked each of the continents for bears, snakes, and birds.
Good.
For bears, I had them at number 3, which is the highest Europe ever gets in any of my rankings. So they have 2 of the world's bear species. They have brown bears and they have polar bears in Europe. But those are 2 of the more iconic of the bear species too. So I do think they get some good points for that. You can find brown bears throughout Scandinavia, down through Italy, in some of the mountains in France. You can find them throughout Eastern Europe. Some hot spots are like Slovenia. There's a lot in Croatia. I believe up into like Latvia and stuff too. Romania is a big hot spot for brown bears. So brown bears are doing fairly well in Europe. Polar bears in Europe are really only found in the Norwegian archipelago of Svalbard, which is where we're going to try and see them next summer. That's really the only European. Well, I guess, never mind. I should rewind that. Greenland is owned by Denmark, and you can find them there too. So there are some other places owned by European countries where you can find polar bears. Those are the 2 bears. So I ranked them 3rd, and you'll hear who they're behind later for bears. Snakes, Europe is second to last, right before Antarctica. They really don't have a ton of good snakes in Europe. There's like asps. There's some other venomous snakes.
They don't even have eels.
Yeah, they do have eels. Pretty famous for eels, even, I think. But as far as snakes go, there's not a lot of snake diversity in Europe. You're not going to see a lot of herpers like taking trips to Europe to look for snakes. I'm not going to really go through all the different species, but it's not really a snake hotspot. And then birds, I had Europe ranked, again, second to last. There's a fair amount of migrations and whatnot that go through Europe. There's some really cool birds that you'll see in other parts of the world that do show up in Europe from time to time. There's good bird life in Europe. I don't think there's a single continent where it's like really bad for birds, but it's not, for me, where I like really beautiful, colorful, amazing looking birds, these subjective rankings. Europe doesn't have as many as other places for me. So I have them second to last for birds. Some highlights for their birds, though, are like those hoopoes that we really liked in like India and Africa. Those show up in Europe. I really like, they have a lot of golden eagles in Europe, which I love. And yeah.
They don't have too many birds because they don't have too many bugs.
Yeah, sure. They have a fair amount. I got to stop saying sure to your stuff. They have a fair amount of birds and a fair amount of insects, but it's not, again, like we've talked about, Europe in a large way was tamed, like in the Renaissance and onward. It just kind of, a lot of the wildlife was kind of pushed away. And not that there aren't wild places in Europe, there for sure are. It's a huge continent, but a lot of the places we think of in Europe don't have a ton of wildlife diversity.
Well, you can even see that from the European influence once it migrated to the Americas. Like, they did tame a lot of the wildlife here as well. Like, that was part of the culture for them at that time,
Yeah. And when I say tame, I don't mean like they're taming the wildlife. I mean more they're taming the land. Like, they're making it agriculture. They're pushing out the native flora and fauna. But there are still really great places in Europe for wildlife. I still think it's an amazing place to go see wildlife.
I can rank mine too real quick. For
Yeah,
cats, I have them 5th. For dogs, I have them 5th. And for bugs, I have them 6th. And then I may have done a bad job prepping you guys for how I'm going to run this episode, but I also want to do our 5 favorite animals each for each continent. Did you guys get that ready?
Nope.
I can do it.
It's kind of supposed to be like representative of the continent too a bit. So like don't like overlap animals is how I had it.
Okay.
But if we want, we can just use my 5 and you guys can say like what you would keep and sub out or whatever.
Sure.
Okay. No, I can do 5. But if Mike wants to do that, Mike, I think, has had to do the most work. So
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
It was shot myself in the foot.
No,
I blame
I'm
no one
glad
but me.
because I'm laying up on a lot of these, so you can give them the meat.
Great.
All right, so my top 5 for Europe was a badger was the easiest pick for me.
I also had a badger.
I think that's something I'd be looking for if I'm looking for European wildlife.
Yeah.
And then I had a squirrel because that's the only one I saw that I got most excited about in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And they came from Europe, our squirrels.
Sure. Yeah.
A lot of them. I put polar bear to Europe. I know that Asia and North America have more, but I kind of think the European polar bear is just like a cool spot, and I want to give it to them.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
I put red fox, and I put walrus.
Walrus.
Okay.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I have basking shark because I think they're really just amazing looking and just cool sharks. I have Eurasian lynx because I would put them in Europe, and I think they're the coolest of the small cats. Badger. I think the European badger has such a distinctive look, so I totally agree with Jeff on that one. I have reindeer.
That's a
because you mostly find them in Scandinavia and whatnot. And then the last one, I picked a bird. I picked the white-tailed eagle. It's the longest wingspan of any eagle in the world. They kind of look like a cross between a bald eagle and a golden eagle, and you find them out in like Central and Northern and Eastern Europe. So they're a really cool-looking eagle that I think should be represented by Europe.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to vote for Wes on this round. Wes wins this round.
Okay, I like that.
And whoever has the most votes by the end of this episode, because there's 7 continents, someone's going to win.
Yeah.
They get, I don't know, or something.
Well, Wes is winning, so that's great.
I actually I like Jeff's picks better there.
I'll give you guys the winner some candy is how I'll do this.
Okay.
There was a lot of things that motivated me to get life insurance. One of them was the pandemic a few years ago. It just seemed like such a chaotic, crazy time. Nothing felt certain. And for me, it just felt really important to have protection for the people that I love. And every year I promised myself I would stop procrastinating on all the important stuff. And life insurance was always one of those things that I avoided thinking about until I realized it's actually really quick, really affordable, and essential. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it easy to start the year feeling like you've handled something major for your family. Fabric by Gerber Life is term life insurance you can get done today. It's made for busy parents like you, all online, on your schedule, right from your couch. You can be covered in under 10 minutes with no health exam required. And if you've got kids, and especially if you're young and healthy, the time to lock in your low rates is now. Even if you have life insurance through your employer, it may not offer enough protection for your family, and it may not follow you if you leave your job. Fabric has flexible, high-quality policies that fit your family and your budget, like $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. And there's no risk. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can cancel at any time. So you can join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/tooth. That's meetfabric.com/tooth, meetfabric.com/tooth. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions.
Let's go with South America.
Oh, is that one of them?
Yeah. I'm going to go
Jeff,
first.
my heart can't take this. I'm on the verge of dying. You need to know that.
I forgot about that one. All right, hold on.
I'm going to go first. All right. So for bears, I have South America ranked 4th. They have one bear species, but it's a very iconic, cool bear species. It's the Andean bear or the spectacled bear. One of the cooler bears that I've ever seen in the wild. Just really unique habitat, unique bear. Probably like up there with pandas being the least dangerous bear in the world. There's no really recorded attacks on people. I think there was a guy that cornered one once and it attacked his dogs and maybe attacked him, but not really a dangerous bear in any sense of the word. But they're the only bear in South America. So that is why they're ranked 4th for bears. For snakes, I have them 3rd for snakes. So there are a lot of really cool snakes in South America. It's hard for me. Asia, Africa, and South America are like leaps and bounds above everyone else when it comes to snakes. So it was hard to rank those ones, but I did put them 3rd. They have the heaviest snake in the world, the green anaconda. They have the longest viper in the world, the bushmaster. And then they just have lots of really iconic, cool snakes. We're talking like emerald tree boas. We have different types of rattlesnakes down there, like the neotropical rattlesnake. Lots of cool vipers, just really cool snakes in South America. It's definitely a herper kind of hot spot. So they're ranked 3rd for snakes. And then for birds, I also have them ranked 3rd after Africa and Asia. It's hard to beat Africa and Asia on a lot of these, but there are really amazing birds. And again, really iconic birds in South America. Toko toucan is my favorite personal South American bird. But man, if you ever get the chance to go to Ecuador or Colombia to go birding, you are going to just be blown away by the amount of, you know what? I think I got to put them 2nd. I'm actually putting South America 2nd.
Wow.
So just because I was thinking of Ecuador and how, I mean, when we went there, we saw over 350 species of birds in a single week.
We weren't even trying.
Yeah. Amazing.
You weren't
birds.
trying?
I was trying. I was trying really hard, actually. But yeah, so I'm going to put them 2nd for birds.
Cool.
Penguins.
Penguins. Yeah, but penguins you find in
You're
a lot of
saving
other
those.
places too.
Tortoises. Those are kind of like snakes.
They're not. Well, there's reptiles, I guess.
But
Yeah.
we're not bringing them up anywhere else, so that's good call out still.
I
had to say it.
Yeah, I guess I would probably give South America tortoises because they got those Galapagos, ones.
We got tortoises too, though. in
And
North
you know, there's
America.
some really similar sized tortoises in like the Seychelles and stuff too, to the Galapagos ones. So anyway,
okay.
that's South America for me, for my 3 critter species group.
Mike,
What a
I'll
great
go.
continent. I love South America. Yeah, go for it.
Mm-hmm. Amazing continent.
So, actually, I kind of want to ask Wes.
Mhm.
So do you know the types of cats in South America that don't live in North America? Can you name? I think there's
Ooh.
4.
Yeah, I would say the jaguarundi, the margay.
There are some jaguarundi in Central America. Which
Oh yeah, I
counts as
forget that
North
Central America counts as North America. There's probably margay in Central America too, right?
When I looked up North American cats, it didn't. It had jaguarundis and it didn't have margays.
Okay. Fishing cat
Yeah.
and Pantanal cat.
I didn't see it.
You don't have that one.
I have
Yeah.
Andean cat, cod cat. Did you know there's a Jeffroy's cat?
Jeff Rose?
Oh wait, yeah, I do. Down in Patagonia, right?
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
Do fishing cats ever catch catfish? That'd be fun, right?
probably. Yeah. Like,
And a
What
pompous
the heck?
cat.
Nature's so
Yeah.
crazy.
the Pantanal cat's another one. Margay, I do think you can find in Central America, but I'm not sure.
And then for
yeah.
dogs, the main noteworthy one is the maned wolf is very unique to South America.
It is.
There's a South American fox, but they kind of just look like your typical fox, just not.
Bush dogs are only in South America.
Bush dogs
They're
are cool.
really cool. That's a white whale. Not many people have seen them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do they have? They're not related to Bushmasters.
No. Nope, not at all.
Or George Bush.
Also not in the Bush family. Yeah.
Or just
I'm
bushes?
pretty sure crab-eating foxes are only in South America, right?
I didn't see them.
Didn't see them when you're doing your exhaustive research?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can look that up for you real quick, Jeff.
Do insects.
Yeah, just in South America.
Do one insect, please.
Here, let me help you with a few other dogs that are just in South America. The South American gray fox, the pampas fox, the culpeo or Andean fox. Those are also dogs that are only in South America.
Those are good dogs.
I said,
but they all are, aren't they? Does all dogs go to heaven? Is that like for even wild dogs?
I would think so.
Like all canids?
Canids.
Canadians?
Yeah.
For bugs,
Yeah, go bugs.
I'm gonna do the Brazilian wandering spider.
Okay.
Pretty cool insect.
Yeah.
Or are they? They're not insects.
Definitely
they're
not an
bugs,
insect. An arachnid. Yeah.
Bugs is kind of a, you know what we mean, right, listener?
Yeah.
That's why I said bugs instead of
Arthropods.
so I could do
Yeah.
spiders.
That's a great bug. We did an episode on them, and that was an interesting one where we learned that their venom can produce a 3-day boner.
Right.
And for
What's 4 days you tell your physician, right? So
Yeah.
you're good.
bugs I saw, I don't know if scorpions count as a bug, but I did seen that scorpion.
If Brazilian wandering spiders do, then scorpions do too. They're same family. Yeah, we saw the South American yellow scorpion in Brazil, which is one of the most potent venoms of any scorpion on the planet. And it happened to be right next to one of our guests' head in her bed. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Do you guys have any bugs that come to mind when you think of South America or trips?
There's a lot of good bugs down there.
Specifically.
There's lots of really cool cryptic moths in South America that look like leaves. I saw this katydid in Ecuador that had it looked perfectly like a leaf, and then if you kind of got close to it, it popped its wings out that had big eyes on them, and I think it's called a peacock katydid, and it looked like a predator, and it was just a really cool example of mimicry. We could do a whole podcast on bugs in South America, just so you guys know. There are so many bugs down there. Bullet ants are in South America.
Ooh, that's a good
talked
one.
about them,
Yeah.
There's some incredible army ants and leafcutter ants are responsible for a huge aspect of the rainforest. So yeah. Anyway.
Leaf cutters.
That spoiled my North American bug.
Okay.
Leaf cutters.
Oh, man. My turn, right? For water in South America.
Yeah.
This South America has some really cool, unique water creatures. We've talked about a couple of them already, but I'll shout out a few real quick. So the Amazon River dolphins, the pink ones, Wes had a pretty good episode about those. They just look kind of like sausages that aren't quite done being grilled up. Piranha, I think, are only South American, or are there others?
You can find them in Central America as well, but
Okay. But that's South America is where you would put them, right?
Pretty uniquely, South American.
Electric eels, also only found in South America. Not actually eels, technically. They're knife fish, most closely related to fish. So that's kind of a confusing little... Next time you're at a party and someone's like, hey, what about those eels?
They better watch out if it's a St. Patrick's Day party.
Right.
Yeah,
That's true.
They'll get chased into the...
Jeff talked a
don't
little
even
bit
know
about
anymore.
these, I think you say conjuroo, the ones that are purportedly, folklorically said to swim up your urine stream and get you in the...
urethra.
Yeah.
The Lorena Bobbitt episode.
Yeah.
That's why, dude, women are so lucky they don't have to deal with that. Sea lions.
Conjuroo.
So this is more anecdotal, but seals and sea lions, when we went to the Galapagos, I'd never quite experienced anything quite like that. I think seals probably more appropriately would maybe even go to Antarctica, but I'm going to put them here, I think. just because it was insane how, like, every beach we went to, there's just like a billion of them rolling around.
We gotta give seals to Antarctica. Like, Antarctica doesn't have anything besides like seals.
No idea.
Sure.
We'll
Okay.
get there.
All right.
Anyway,
Okay.
and then hammerheads. I gave hammerheads because Ecuador is probably the prime spot in the world to see hammerheads, and that's great.
It is interesting. I've been looking at diving spots lately, and like every list about the best diving spots in the world, almost every single one, Galapagos is number one on their diving spots.
All right, let's rattle through prehistoric real quick. The Titanoboa. You heard about that guy? Huge snake. It's like 50 feet long.
A movie coming out about it this year.
No way.
So exciting.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. Jeff, ground sloths.
Yeah, I like those.
How big were they? Like
Brazilian caves that they, after a while, figured out was like a sloth's home that they made.
So cool.
I went to one of those caves in Minas Gerais. Yeah.
They're supposed to be, I guess, they were the size of elephants, which is just kind of a crazy. Basically, everything prehistorically, like the signature feature of them is that they're animals, but huge.
Yeah.
Huge ones. There's the Titanus, a terror bird. It was like a 6.5 foot tall bird. And for like 40 million years, it was the apex predator on the continent.
That's so cool.
It was crazy. Just like this huge bird, and it was super fast. It could run like 40 miles an hour and just had this crazy beak and would go to town on whatever it
and
wanted
humans,
it to sound like.
There was overlap between humans and them too, right?
Yeah, they didn't go extinct until maybe like pretty early humans were definitely around at the same time. And then, so this is maybe a controversial one, but I'm giving, because otherwise I would just say like the coolest dinosaur for every continent. But the oldest living fossil records of dinosaurs actually come from South America. So I'm just giving South America dinosaurs just as like a blanket, just so we're not just like saying T-Rex for, the rest of these continents. But 230 million year old fossils from Argentina and Brazil, the Eoraptor and the Herrerasaurus. So there you go. Okay, I'm going to do the mythological creature I found to be most compelling in South America. It's called the boitata. So I also want to shout out the, what's it called? The Encantado. We talked about that in the Pink River.
I was going to say, if it's not the dolphins that dresses like a guy in a white suit and go and like knock up every woman. Yeah.
Wear dolphins. It's so awesome. And they have to wear a hat to cover up their blowhole because that doesn't go. It's the only part that doesn't go away. It's awesome.
I love that, like, when people got pregnant, they just said, no, it was the dolphins. The dolphins came in. Yeah.
But the one I went with, it's actually a huge snake called the boitata. So in the Rio Grande do Sul region in Brazil, did I say that right, Wes?
No, but it's okay. Rio Grande do Sul. Yeah.
Do Sul region in Brazil. Yeah. A legend tells of a period of endless rainy nights in the forest. An anaconda that lived in a dark cave was awakened by the floods, and being able to see in the dark just fine, decided to feast solely on its favorite delicacy, the eyeballs of all of the other animals. After gorging on the bright eyes of the other animals, the anaconda lit up from the inside and briefly turned fiery bright before dying. And then it was reincarnated into a great protector snake called the boitata, who would attack those who mean to harm the trees and animals of the Amazon, causing any to cross its path to go blind, mad, or even just outright die on the spot. With eyes like two beacons and transparent and sparkling skin, it slithers in the night through the fields and along riverbanks, protecting the forests. The best way to avoid its wrath was to remain still without breathing and keeping your eyes tightly closed. Running from it is a risk best not taken, since the snake might suspect you of being an arson who has set fire to the woods, which I think is really funny. It's like a snake is sitting there just pondering,
That's right.
Like, I don't think it knows the word arson.
Woods on fire.
Yeah. There you go. Fiery, big old fiery serpent. It's like, don't mess with, it's like a will-o'-the-wisp,
Loves eating eyeballs.
Don't mess with the forests.
Yeah.
Or else it'll get you.
It'll get you.
For South America, I have jaguar, toko toucan, giant anteater, maned wolf, and green anaconda.
That's the one my hardest one I left off. I have
It's gonna be tough to beat.
jaguar, spectacled bear, anteater, maned wolf, caiman.
I'm glad you did spectacled bear. That definitely should have been in my list.
I think the spectacled bear is going to get my vote to go to Jeff. So you're tied up.
Okay. All right. What continent's next?
Let's keep the Americas together. So let's go North America. So, I think Mike's part of this episode's the most fun, and I don't want it to be too long, so intentionally I didn't prepare very much.
No, you're
But
Good job.
for cats, the main ones are Canada lynx, mountain lion, jaguar, which belong more to South America, bobcats, ocelots, and jaguarundis, which more South America for sure. And then dogs, we have gray wolf, red fox, Arctic fox, coyotes, and red wolves. And lots of coyotes, which, put them ahead of South America for me for dogs. But
Yeah,
then
if you
I'd
had to-
probably put South America above North America for cats.
If you had to pick a quintessentially American canid, it would be the coyote.
And then for bugs, probably the zombie ants we saw in Costa Rica are what I think of the most. Also the leaf cutter ants that we saw in Costa Rica. I really like the bullet ant that bit Wes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Central American bugs for me, though. North America, I'd go classic grasshopper, ladybug type of bugs.
Firefly?
Ooh, that's a pretty good bug.
I love that bug. Beetle, more accurately.
Mike, you want to go?
I'll do it. Water. We got manatees. You got to go to Florida to see them. No other place in the world. Orcas, I think it's the best place in the world is just off the coast of Washington State in the San Juans. You can see them, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Wes.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
I think that's probably the best place, maybe the best place to see him from a boat. The best place to see him right now is in this Norwegian fjord where you can dive with them, and there's tons of pods in there. But yeah,
Basically all of not all of them, but a lot of the big whales like blue, gray, and humpback whales are a north. Here's another thing. The whole Oceania part of the world is hard to ascribe to a continent, because that's an awesome spot to see
For
all of
marine
this sea
wildlife.
life. And I don't really know how to divvy that up, but I'm just going to give it to North America because the Baja in Mexico is that's
For
a
whale
premier
sharks.
spot to see whale sharks, narwhals in the Canadian Arctic. You got to count those. Those are cool.
Yeah.
They're real, it turns out.
they are real.
I bet a few people out there are learning that right now. Tiger sharks in the Bahamas.
That is probably the best. That in the Maldives, best place to see those. Yeah, cool.
I was tempted to include dolphins off the coast of California, but it just seems like they're everywhere. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't really know how to do that one.
my best dolphin experience was in the Bahamas. So dolphins, yeah.
Cool.
Mine was Mexico.
Prehistoric. Giant short-faced bear. Those dudes. Sweet.
Great bear.
Yeah, 14 feet tall. Saber-toothed tiger. This is their stomping grounds, was North America. The dire wolf, the American lion, and the Archelon ischiros is a ruler turtle, basically twice the size of a leatherback. So that's that's a big animal.
Yeah, T-Rex, North American.
No, Mike gave all dinosaurs to South
it's all
America.
South
yeah,
America.
I kind of have
Yeah.
to say it though. That's the most famous dinosaur, and
Right.
it's found in Montana.
It was a hot take, and I'm going to die on that hill. Okay. My mythological creature from North America, every bone in my body screamed out just to go with Bigfoot, right? That's
Sure.
firmly entrenched in North American lore. But
Yeah.
I am actually going with a First Nations people's mythology of the Thunderbird and horned serpent.
Nice.
Because this is more of a creation myth. And I think that's a little more just fundamental to the land itself. So I thought it was a little more fun to do this. So I pulled this primarily from the Algonquin mythology, but again, a lot of different tribes share similar stories. The Thunderbird, in many First Nation people's mythology, it's a brightly feathered bird who helped create the universe and who represents order, light, and life. It's big and strong enough to swoop down and pick up whales in its talons, and from its perch on the upper world, he surveys the lands below, controls the weather, and protects humanity from the great horned serpent who embodies chaos, darkness, and death. And whenever the serpent starts acting up a little bit, the Thunderbird just casts thunderbolts down at it, which is it's kind of a fun little it's probably fun for both of them, they're having fun. But in some traditions, the Thunderbird will just show up in a dream or a vision, and basically that marks that person to receive bountiful gifts, or maybe even go on to become the war chieftain. But yeah, it's just kind of a cool little. And again, that it varies vastly from a tribe to tribe. I'm not pretending this is the one sole creation myth that exists, but I just thought this version of it was kind of kind of cool to think that there's a protector bird just sending rain and thunderbolts down to help us common folk out every once in a while, you know?
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Cool. All right, my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so for bears, I have North America ranked 3rd. So we have 3 bear species. We've got polar bears, brown bears, and American black bears. So great bears all around. I love that American black bears are a quintessentially North American bear. So I do really like them. So we're number 3. Go us.
I would guess second.
You would have guessed wrong. You would have guessed right. Sorry. It is second. Europe was 3rd. Yeah.
Good at guessing.
Yeah. We are second. I put us second. My bad. North America's second for bears. Snakes, we are, let's see, what is that? 5th? I put us 5th for snakes. We got some great snakes. I think rattlesnakes are mostly North American, and they're kind of our coolest snake in my opinion. I just think it's neat that they have such a cool defense mechanism. We have some other really cool snakes though too. We got coral snakes, indigo snakes, lots of really great snakes in North America, to be honest. But I put us still 5th because there's some other continents with a really amazing snake life. And then for birds, I have North America ranked once again 5th. Great birds here, but again, I think kind of similar to Europe, maybe a little bit more drab, a little bit less impressive than some of these other continents. I'm just going to throw out bald eagles and turkeys as two of our coolest birds. So we have in North America.
Mike Tyson would not agree.
Pigeons. Yeah. He loves pigeons. Pigeons, though, a lot of the coolest pigeons are in other places. All right. Should we do our favorite animals from North America?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You go first.
Okay. I have grizzly bear, black bear, moose, sloth, and coyote.
You gave sloths to North America.
Oh, interesting.
Because Central America is part of North America.
That's a fact.
Sure.
And that's where I think if I want to see a sloth, I think of Central America first.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I did puma, or mountain lion, I guess. We'll do the North American name. Grizzly bear, coyote, American black bear, and Gila monster.
We'll go with Wes.
Yes.
Oh, the Gila monster. Are you kidding me, Jeff?
Yeah. One of 2 venomous lizards.
Yeah, have you ever licked one? Don't.
This year I've been really into giving people the appearance that I have my life together. You know, I want to seem like I'm responsible and not like I'm giving Mike and Bill this ad read 10 minutes before the episode goes live. One of my biggest life hacks right now for acting like I'm a responsible adult is always having a freezer and fridge full of delicious protein meats. For over a decade, ButcherBox has led the industry with meat and seafood that's antibiotic-free, hormone-free, and independently verified. Because when it comes to fueling your body, quality isn't extra, it's everything. Clean, whole protein means better support for strength, metabolism, and that steady, all-day energy we're all chasing. Boy, don't I need it, and boy, isn't this helping. I've been making different meals out of their hamburger they sent me this week, and it's saved me from getting fast food more times than I can count. Now get this, as an exclusive offer, new listeners can get their choice between chicken breast or top sirloin for a year or ground beef for life, plus $20 off when you go to butcherbox.com/tooth. That's right, your choice of chicken breast or top sirloin for a year or ground beef for life, plus $20 off your first box and free shipping always. That's a steal. That's butcherbox.com/tooth. Don't forget to use our link so that they know that Tooth and Claw sent you.
If you manage a crew, construction, HVAC, landscapers, whatever, you already know. When your guys pay for gas and materials, it causes all types of issues. Cards get borrowed, quote unquote, trucks fuel up when they're parked in the yard, and your accountant is chasing you for receipts at the end of the month. Coast Pay fixes all of that. Coast Pay is the modern fuel card and expense management tool built for fleets. Fuel, maintenance, materials are now all on one card with real control and instant visibility. You can set real-time spending limits for every driver or vehicle. Fuel only? Fuel and materials? Certain days or certain hours? You decide, and Coast enforces it. You see every transaction the moment it happens. No more end of the month surprises. If someone tries to fill up at an odd time or buy something outside their limit, you know instantly. And your accounting team is going to thank you for this. Automatic receipt capture and cleaner data means month end goes from a tedious multi-hour project to a quick review. And unlike old fuel cards, Coast works everywhere Visa is accepted. Every gas station, every brand, every time. There's no contracts, no commitments, just a smarter, simpler way to keep your operations tight and your crews moving. Right now, Coast Pay is offering our listeners up to $2,000 in credit when you get started at coastpay.com/claw. Go to coastpay.com/claw to see how you can earn up to $2,000 in credit. Terms apply. That's coastpay.com/claw. The Coast Visa commercial credit card is issued by Celtic Bank. All card accounts subject to credit approval.
Let's go to Africa next. One for wildlife. It's hard to, you know.
I think
Are you going to say one of the best continents?
Yeah.
For wildlife.
Which, applies for
I
all
think
of
it's
them,
number one for me right now. I can start us off, though. So, for whatever reason, I didn't put all... Oh, wait, yeah, I did. I just kind of have it mixed up here. All right. So, the big, most famous cats there are lion, cheetah, leopard, serval. Or those are the four that I've seen that are like the most noteworthy in Africa. We saw a serval, right?
We did see a serval, yes.
Yeah. And then the other
There's
ones
also
that...
caracals, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Caracals
caracals
are
that we
sweet.
didn't see here. Then they kind of look similar. All right.
They aren't spotted. They look like kind of a lynx. They have a really long wisp on the end of their ears. Really cool looking cats.
The main one I'd want to see, but it's also part of
Maine.
the Middle East, is a sand cat. I think they're
Yeah.
really cool.
Oh, the huge ears.
There's African wildcats, black-footed cat, African golden cat, jungle cat. So
I've
they have a
seen
lot
some of
cats.
those. I've seen the wild cat, and I think I saw the black-footed cat.
Are hyenas, would they count as a dog? Because when I looked it up, it wasn't. No.
They're
So-
feliforms, so they're their own thing. Yeah,
Their main dogs are jackals and painted dogs.
I'd agree with that.
They have a lot of foxes too, like fennec fox and
Mhm.
different types of fox. For whatever
Fennec
reason,
foxes.
if you search,
Let's not gloss over them.
No,
Huh?
I couldn't possibly.
Fennec
Can't
fox.
gloss over fennec foxes.
you know, foxes. When you search like wild dogs in Africa, they for whatever reason never list fox.
it's probably because wild dogs is like the
It sounds.
name of a species of African
So I had to
wild
like search
canines.
fox separately, and I think I forgot.
Oh, you
to
can't
for
do
Africa.
that. Yeah, you
Alright.
can't do that.
Yeah, you live and you learn. Next time we do this, you'll have that.
But
Yeah,
fennec
extra
fox is
stat.
really cute.
Yeah.
They're great. We love
Um,
foxes around
For
here.
bugs, dung beetles are so cool. We saw a
The
few
top
dung
of the heap.
beetles,
Mhm.
and they are just so good for the ecosystem too, which makes them like extra cool. So they have some really big beetles out there too. Like some of the best beetles are out in African jungles, but I'm giving like my most noteworthy bug goes to dung beetles for Africa.
Okay.
The best.
And then I'll rate cats. I'm going to rate them number one. And for dogs, I'm going to rate them probably like fourth or fifth. I'll say fourth because painted
gonna
dogs
poke-
are just
I'm
so
gonna-
cool.
I'm going to take a quick second to poke some holes in your cat ranking, if I might.
Yeah.
All three of the big cats that you like in Africa can also be found in Asia. Plus,
Cheetah's pretty much not.
but they can be. They're still there.
Where at in India?
No, like in Iran and the Middle East, there's a cheetah. What I'm saying is if like you're ranking continents based on what they have for those species, there are better cats. Like there are more species of cats in Asia than there are in Africa.
I see.
Like you have all of the African ones plus tigers, plus snow leopards, plus
I think if you're just looking at a
clouded
list,
leopards.
you're right. I think if you're looking at a list of what each continent has, you're right. But I think if you're considering like accessibility to the animals, if you're considering like the amount that each continent has, and like
I'd still
like
take
if
Asia.
you're going to the continent, what you're going to be able to see, I think Africa's number one for cats.
I'd still pick Asia.
I think your argument's fair. I don't disagree with your disagreement, but you didn't change my mind either.
Okay. This makes sense as a big lion enthusiast too.
Sure.
You know?
And cheetah too.
Yeah. Okay. Africa for bears, not very good.
No.
I put them above Antarctica, so they're number 6 for bears. And the only reason I did that is because they used to have bears in northern Africa. They used to have brown bears. Honestly,
really?
Australia should probably be lower than Africa, but because of koalas, even though they're not bears, I'm gonna give it. Yeah.
Drop bears.
Yeah,
I put them at 6 for bears. No bears currently in Africa. They used to have a brown bear in northern Africa. Snakes. I put them number 1.
Wow.
I think there's a good argument for Asia. There's probably more species in Asia, so Jeff, you could argue the same thing. Yeah.
Yes.
But some of my personal favorite snakes are only found in Africa, and that's why I had the argument for the cats, is they're found in both places, but Asia has more species. Africa, some of my favorite all-time snakes you can only find on the African continent. Gaboon vipers, rhinoceros vipers, black mambas, a lot of the bush vipers you can only find in Africa. I think they're incredibly beautiful. I think some of the African cobras are the coolest looking cobras. So I picked Africa as number 1 for snakes for those reasons. And then birds. This was really hard. I ended up switching this around, right? I gave South America number 2. South America was number 2. So Africa is number 3. Really cool birds in Africa. The one that comes to the top of my mind is secretary birds. It's a raptor that like walks around on huge long legs and eats snakes. Just such an amazing bird. Lilac-breasted rollers are incredible, beautiful birds. I think Africa is always an incredible surprise for birding. Shoebill storks. Ostriches. Yeah. I mean, there's incredible bird life in Africa. For me, it was really hard to pick between Asia, Africa, and South America for birds. But Asia took top spot for me in almost everything. And I'll go into that when we rank our continents for everything. But yeah, so I'm ranking them 3rd, but they have incredible bird life. If you are a birder, it's hard to beat Africa. No, I love Africa. I think I think I get why it's, for a lot of people, their number 1 wildlife destination. But you got to check out Asia too.
Well, let's talk about some water animals then, huh? We got hippos. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What more is there to be said? But I do have some more. So the sardine run, that's like the famous sardine run down off the coast of South Africa. It's pretty iconic. If you've never seen like pictures or videos of it, it's kind of bewildering how many, just billions and billions of sardines going crazy. And then like all the predators swim through and catch them all. We have Goliath tigerfish in the rivers of, I think, Congo is where they're most known for, but they're huge, like kind of the gnarliest looking fish I've ever seen. I'm surprised I hadn't heard about that until last night. Just like what they look like. Let's move on to prehistoric. I don't want to do. Oh, the otter bear. You guys heard of the otter bear? 200 kilo terrestrial relative of sea otters. Can't beat that.
That's combining like the otter bears, like the 2 famous gay communities, right? Otters and bears.
Bears.
All combined in one animal. That's cool.
Right. It's kind of like you can be whichever one you want to be on any given day.
What hog did they have down there, over there?
Giant Ethiopian hog.
Jeff's seen a few of those in his web research.
My
They used to have a long-legged hippo, which is fun. An African dire bear.
Ooh, that's cool. Dire bears. That does sound sweet.
Rob Stark would have won the war if he had a dire bear instead of a dire wolf.
Just would have never shown up like his dire wolves. No, that was more John, huh? Rob's actually helped him.
Rob's wolf was sick.
Yeah, it was. Got killed.
I got a myth for you all. Sit down while I spin you a story. This little spider named Anansi. So forgive me if this rings more true to like Western retellings. This is like very much an oral tradition, a lot of these stories that were passed down. And the telling of the story that I read most from was out of Ghana from the Akan religion. But it goes like this. Lived in a small village nestled deep within the verdant forests of West Africa. He was a clever little spider named Anansi. And when he wasn't engaged in some sort of trickery or other, he could be spotted beside his elders as they spun tales around glowing fires, infusing their embroidered words with all manners of ghosts and spirits. But Anansi grew frustrated that there were only so many stories to be told, and so to claim all of the world's stories as common property for all people to share, he began to spin a long thread that reached all the way to the heavens, where he confronted the sky god, asking that he be given dominion over all the stories of the world. The sky god gave him 3 challenges, including defeating a giant snake, braving a flaming forest for precious timber, and overcoming the mermaid queen who resided deep down in the sea. Overcoming each challenge with wit and bravery, the sky god proclaimed, "Well done, little Anansi. No earthly creature has ever bested me so, nor shown such talent for bending reality itself. Let all the stories of this world and others be now yours to share as you please." So it's a real David and Goliath kind of thing, where this little spider went out and confronted the world for the sake of telling stories to everyone. It's pretty sweet.
That is sweet.
All right. This was my hardest top 5 just because there's so many I wanted in here. But I did elephant, giraffe, cheetah, lion, hippo.
Hippo, giraffe, and cheetah as well, because I do think even though you can find cheetahs in Asia, you're right, like Africa is the best spot for them. Both hippos and giraffes you can only find in Africa. So I do think they're very uniquely African. I picked the secretary bird. I think it's one of my all-time favorite birds. Both of our African trips, that was like a highlight for me, was seeing those birds. And then I picked the gaboon viper. I think it's a really cool-looking viper, has the longest fangs of any viper, and extremely high venom load. So, I wanted to make sure we had some reptiles represented as well.
My favorite snake.
Yeah.
And I didn't even pick it on purpose.
Yeah. I think that's an easy win for me.
What?
Personally. Yeah. But I'm going to let Mike say what he thinks.
African elephants you don't think are notable?
Secretary birds? You don't even have them in there?
I don't have gorillas.
Elephants. We got elephants in Asia too. Yeah.
I'm going with Jeff, actually. That's tough. Secretary birds are my favorite bird, but
you also don't like to be told which way you're going to go, and I said that you're going to pick
That's true.
So I knew I was sealed your fate as soon as I said that. Yeah.
All right, let's do Australia.
Let's do it.
So, there's no types of like native cats in Australia. In like the late 1700s, early 1800s, people were starting to like colonize it more, and they really loved having pet cats back then, more than now even, I think, because rodents were such disease spreaders that like having a pet cat actually kept you safe more than having a pet dog even sometimes, because they would kill rodents. So lots of people had pet cats. They went to Australia with pet cats. Tons of cats got loose. It's like one of the biggest issues in all of Australia, like 22 types of marsupials or something. Yeah.
That sounds like the right word.
Marsupials have gone extinct from the cats in Australia. And like just a bunch of animals are having trouble because invasive cats are like one of the worst. Yeah, feral cats.
They are the worst. They are the worst invasive animal in the world. And we're not just talking Australia, everywhere. That there are wild feral cats or even just house cats that are loose, kill a ton of wildlife.
It says here, it's estimated each year domestic and feral cats in Australia kill nearly 1.1 billion mammals, 399 million birds, 609 million reptiles, 93 million frogs. Mike, you love frogs.
I love those guys.
And 1.1 billion invertebrates.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And like worldwide, it's incalculable how many animals cats kill. They're perfect little predators.
Makes you kind of mad at cats.
It doesn't. It makes me mad at irresponsible cat owners. But I will say this. We've talked about this a bit on the show before, and I haven't really thought of the right way to put it to people because I don't want people who have let their cats outside to feel guilty about it. What I do think is that if you do feel like, oh, that's a change you should make, I don't think it's fair to take a cat that's been living outside its whole life and change it. But I do think on your next cat, you should keep it indoors. I think that's a good compromise. Is like next time you get a cat, you've learned your lesson, keep it inside.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'll agree to that.
Messaging.
Cosine.
I'd like
Unless
to go
you have
harder on
wild
that,
birds
but,
in your house.
yeah, that's true.
Invertebrates all over the place.
Yeah, you probably do have invertebrates all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
For dogs, it's just dingoes, but then,
Is it just dingoes?
isn't it?
There's foxes there too. Yeah.
Foxes. Oh,
The fox.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
I
forgot to
can't
Google
ever
that
forget
one.
the fox.
Yeah.
What type of fox do they have?
I'm not sure. I wasn't on dogs. They definitely have red fox.
Really?
But yeah,
That's interesting.
Star fox.
it is interesting.
Let's see. Fox. So I think it's just dingoes and red foxes then.
Okay.
And red foxes would be the only native, like
They're
type
not
of
native.
dog, then. Oh, they're not native either.
No,
They were
they're
introduced.
Mm-hmm. It ends up happening. Like they want to hunt them or whatever else, and they release them. So yeah,
I see.
yep.
So yeah, no native dogs, but there are feral.
I think dingoes. I think there's a very good argument for dingoes now being considered native wildlife to Australia because they were introduced so long ago, and they are part of the ecosystem there now. That
it
I think
feels
you could
like
say,
it. Like if you see a dingo, I think it's like it's a pretty wild animal.
there's protections for them in Australia. I think there's a good argument for them being considered part of Australia's wildlife now.
Okay. And then for bugs, I like our funnel web one that we did our story on, and
Yeah,
their
Yorick.
webs are just sweet. So I'm going with the funnel web.
Okay.
Yeah. Those guys are cool. I want one.
All right. I had Australia ranked 5th for bears. They definitely don't have any bears, but koalas, colloquially people call them bears. I probably should put them last because of that, but I do think it's kind of funny. And drop bears, the famous kind of cryptid in Australia, but there are no bears in Australia. There never have been bears in Australia. So they probably should be below Africa because Africa used to have bears at least. So I am going to switch those. Australia is 6th. Africa is 5 for bears. And then
Africa doesn't have any bears right now, though.
yeah, no, but they used to at least. And Australia doesn't have any. Australia is 4th for snakes on my list. And I think people might kind of balk at that a little bit because it is famous for having really cool snakes. I think the thing that separates Australia from the other continents, and this is important to mention, is there is so much cool endemic wildlife in Australia where you only find it in Oceania in Australia. And that's true for their snakes. And so it's hard to rank them because I think if you're ranking unique wildlife, Australia might be number 1, but I just don't get as into their snakes as I do Asia or Africa. But they do have incredible snakes. They have the inland taipan, which most people consider to be the most potent venom of any snake. They have really cool, they have green tree pythons. They have lots of amazing snakes, tiger snakes, eastern brown snakes. It's a great place for snakes, but I just don't think it's quite, you don't see the diversity and the number of species that you see in places like Asia or Africa, continents like Asia or Africa. Birds, again, incredible endemics in Australia. It's really amazing. I still put it at 4th behind Asia, Africa, and South America, or Asia, South America, and Africa.
You think they're clearly ahead of North America?
I do. Again, because like so many cool endemics, so many amazing birds. You got cassowaries, you got emus, you got cockatoos, you got a lot of really amazing birds in Asia. It is hard to say, Jeff, because Central America has a ton of bird life. But I still am going to pick Australia. Kiwis.
Kiwi.
Those mountain
Kias.
parrots in New Zealand.
Kias.
Yeah, Kias.
Yeah.
You like Kia cars?
I'm pretty neutral on Kia cars. I think they're pretty affordable.
That's Korean.
Which is nice.
That's for Asia.
Yeah.
Save it.
Yeah.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. For Australia, are you kidding me right now? So they've got dugongs. Just like we here in the north of America have manatees. Dugongs do exist in other places, but I read that Western Australia is considered widely to be the best place to see them. And those are cool. Stonefish, I feel like maybe the most venomous fish. Got to shout that out. And I think Australia is like a real hot spot for them.
Yeah.
Giant cuttlefish. We're all pretty big, newly converted fans, a couple of us, to cuttlefish, I know. They got some really cool camouflage mating type stuff going on if you're into the fish doing that kind of stuff. I'm not.
Why you need to wear camo to mate?
So it's like some people get off on exhibitionism. They want to be seen. Some people want to keep it private. And if you're wearing camo, you can do that anywhere you go.
Okay.
This is controversial, Wes. Great white sharks? Are you going to give me that one?
I like it. I like it for Australia.
Okay.
They are everywhere, but there used to be like hot spots where you could go cage dive with great white sharks, and a number of them have been closed. Like the one in Mexico was closed because of irresponsible operators. The one in South Africa has like ceased to exist because of movement patterns for great white sharks. So really at this point, there are others, like there's one now in Canada, in New Zealand, but I think New Zealand and Australia are the kind of premier spots to see great whites these days. So I think that's a good pick.
Cool. Let's go over some quick prehistoric animals. We have the Palercestes. Those are the huge marsupials dwelling in trees. They're like the size of a horse, is what I kept reading.
Yeah.
Huge claws. Basically just like a koala, but huge. Just think about that.
Oh, that's
maybe.
cool.
Tasmanian tiger, maybe not quite prehistoric, but extinct now, sadly. The Megalania, massive monitor lizard. I think the most exciting one to me there, though, is a horse-sized koala, right?
Yeah, that is exciting. Their chlamydia must be so big.
There's huge ones. Mythological. Oh, we just got to talk about the drop bear, right? Should we tell our listeners? Should we dispel the myth? So they're said to be vicious marsupials that inhabit the tops of trees, and they attack unsuspecting people. They'll drop out of a tree and attack. So the joke is the way to avoid these attacks, because some people genuinely believe like, oh, wow, I've heard drop bear is crazy. It sounds violent and dangerous. So like the prank is you put forks in your hair and you like smear Vegemite all over your body. And there's other different like little tactics. You can like douse yourself in urine is another one. Some people are like, just do that and you'll be safe, you know? And some people fall for it. And I think that's really great. So there has been like very serious documented scientific research on this phenomenon, even though it's like pretty clearly these don't really exist. But I just like that it's so much of a cultural icon that people in those spheres of science are just like, yeah, let's have some fun with this. Let's do some write-ups.
That was one of the biggest shocks for me, is learning that cryptozoology is like something you can get your PhD in. Like you can go out and become a serious cryptozoologist researcher, which is just like, it's strange to me, but whatever. There's weirder things in the world.
Like bear biologist. I don't get that.
Yeah, I know you don't, pal. All right. Is that it for Australia? Oh, we got to do our 5 favorites, right? Me and Jeff. Okay. I'll go first this time, I guess. I'm going to go with koala because they are, incredibly cute and very unique to Australia. Wombats. I think wombats are amazing animals. They, poop cubes. Really cool looking. Cassowaries. One of my all-time favorite birds.
New Zealand is included in Australia as a continent, right?
Yeah. Oceania. Yeah. Frilled lizards. That lizard that like has this huge frill that comes out that they based Dilophosaurus on. I just think they're one of the coolest lizards in the world. And then I also picked the platypus because platypus are one of the 2 egg-laying mammals. They have a venomous spur behind their leg. They seem like they're half bird, half mammal, half fish. They're just an incredible animal that only Australia could produce. So those are my 5.
I got koala, kangaroo, quokkas. They're just smiling all the time.
Cute. Cuties. Yeah.
Platypus and crocodile.
Which species of crocodile?
Saltwater crocodile.
Salties.
My biggest, I wish it was on there is cassowary.
I was going to put salties, and I picked the frilled lizard instead because salties you can find in a lot of Asia too.
This is by far the hardest one I've had to choose because I love cassowaries. But saltwater crocodiles, I mean, come on. Let's go, Jeff. Jeff's up 3-2.
All right.
Let's save Asia for last, so let's go Antarctica. Let's do Asia right now. We'll save Antarctica for that.
Okay. So Antarctica was our last continent we went to together.
So Asia, I'll get us started real quick. Cats, obviously tigers, like what you'd think of first for Asia, right?
Yeah.
They have leopards all throughout India and a couple other spots probably. Snow leopards,
probably
pretty much
out in the
throughout
Himalayas.
Asia. Yeah.
Clouded leopards throughout Asia. Pallas cat is a really good like Asian specific cat that a lot of people love. Like I said, there's sand cats in the Middle East. There's, like Wes said, there are lions. There, I guess, is a tiny population of cheetahs.
There is. Yes.
And that's pretty cool. There's a rusty spotted cat, Wes.
Yeah.
Fishing cat.
Yep.
There's jungle cats. Borneo bay cat. Flat-headed cats. Have you seen those?
I haven't.
Flat-headed cat. Look that up.
Okay. I'll look it up. I'm not going to do it right now. I will just say Asia has, by a good margin, the most species of wild felines.
Look up flat-headed cat.
There's 17 species in Asia and 10 in Africa. The Americas actually have more wildcat species than Africa does. There's 12 in the Americas, but Asia does have, by a good margin, the most wildcats.
Yeah, the Americas are 2 continents.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, they're a cool looking cat, flathead cat.
And then for dogs, what's like the first dog you think of for Asia?
I think of gray wolves, but dholes.
See, I would think
are
of
another
dholes
one.
just because they're only in Asia.
Yeah.
You know which one is really cool is the Tibetan fox.
Tibetan fox are really cool.
They're so sweet.
Yeah.
And then gray wolf, the raccoon dogs in Japan, or the tanuki.
Yeah.
We saw one for a sec. It's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it was
cool.
great.
We saw gray wolves, and you guys saw dholes. I didn't get to see dholes.
Yeah. Cool. How about bugs?
Bugs. My favorite bug I ever met was in Borneo. It was a cicada, and we shook hands.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was a good bug.
You got your first rhinoceros beetles in Asia, too.
The ones I remember were in Costa Rica.
Indonesia, the one that...
You saw them in Costa Rica?
Oh, wait. No, you're right. I'm thinking of Indonesia.
Yeah. It was in Komodo. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Komodo. Yeah, great rhinoceros beetles.
Okay. So for or do you want to go first, Mike? You go first. I'll go
Wait,
first.
yeah, sure.
on Asia.
Where would you rank them for dogs?
Or
Or what would you put first for dogs?
I would honestly probably put Asia first. Yeah.
For dogs?
Uh-huh.
Really? I think I'd have them third. I think I'd have North America first just because I think coyotes have taken it over so well.
Coyotes
and
are
like
really
we
cool.
have gray wolves.
Yeah.
And then we have fox, and like Arctic fox. But then like painted dogs just bring Africa up so high for me because I just think they're so like
They are really
I think
cool.
of all wild
you might
dogs.
Be right. Dogs are hard. And then maned wolves are so cool too.
And
So,
then
yeah.
like Australia, it's like you're not gonna give us dogs. What do we get even then?
Yeah.
Right. Nothing.
That's like one of the main ones we have.
Marsupials. All right, Mike, why don't you do Asia?
Yeah, so for water, this one, a bit of an abstract listing, but so spanning Indonesia, Malaysia, like all over that kind of Micronesia, all over the place. It's the global epicenter of marine life. It hosts 70% of all known coral species and over 2,000 reef fish. And you know me, that's what I'm all about when we're diving. It's just like cool coral features
triangle,
and
right? Is what they
the
call
coral
it.
triangle. Yeah, it's
I didn't
amazing.
know that.
Yeah, so they got a little bit of everything down there. Well, not quite everything, but like a huge amount of everything there is to see. You can see it in Asia in that little stretch.
Best place to see blue whales.
Manta rays, giving them octopi and jellyfish. Millions, billions, maybe even trillions. Probably not, right?
No.
Yeah. Harmless jellyfish. There's a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Palau where you're just like surrounded by really cool, beautiful jellyfish kind of thing. So there you go.
Cool.
Any other water? I'm forgetting some, I'm sure.
There's so many. I mean, I agree with you. It's really hard to quantify. But I do
We
think
talked
when it
about
comes
the-
to reef ecosystems, like Asia is pretty hard to beat. You have like the gold or the coral triangle there, and it's really cool, like big stuff too.
I talked about the turtles in Vietnam a little bit, just for like
the soft shell turtles.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Let's
Thanks.
go prehistoric. So woolly rhinos. They're like rhinos, but shaggy. They got that big, kind of like a yak fur almost, but their horns are huge. They're like 4.5 feet, I think is what I saw listed.
Like as big as a big trumpet.
Yeah, as big as a big trumpet is how I would describe that. Speaking of big, we got the giant ape, the Auctitan hippopotamopus. It's not a hippopotamus, it's a hippopotamopus. So don't get that wrong. Found in Kazakhstan. Pretty cool animals.
Colombia has hippos, Wes.
Yeah, but not native. So, yeah. And that's a very recent introduction. So I wouldn't even come close to saying they're native there.
All right. And for mythological, I'm going to go with the Yeti. I think the Yeti is kind of like the one everyone probably knows and would think about just off the top of their head. There are many, Chinese dragons or even the Japanese, the Kappa, et cetera, et cetera.
They kind of get dragons, huh?
Yeah.
But I wanted to do the Yeti because I learned a couple of interesting things about them. So the belief in these sightings are so old and storied that even by the time Alexander the Great was storming through that Indian subcontinent part of the world, he demanded to see one. He was so excited to see a Yeti when he was just raising the land, and the locals were just like, no. Like, well, it was kind of funny because their retort was like, well, they actually don't really do well at low altitudes, so we can't bring one to show you. So he was like, well, shoot. And I guess he just left disappointed, but
just raised
but throughout the centuries, the accounts continued until pretty distinct variations of the Yeti story started permeating through Buddhist mythology. And they're just they look a little different depending on where you're from. They could either be huge and white or small and strong and red, but always skewing more malevolent in the Western perception of what they are. But actually for people that live in those lands, they see them more as like a benevolent force of nature, like a protector spirit of the mountains. So I just thought that was kind of a cool, I just had never heard that. I always thought that like the abominable snowman is going to rip your arm off and eat it kind of thing.
That's what they did in Dyatlov Pass. They killed those guys. Yeah,
that's right. We got it. When are you covering that story?
We'll do it at some point. All right. So Asia for me, pretty squarely, I think the best continent when it comes to wildlife. I would argue that to my dying day. I think it's really hard to beat because you have essentially every ecosystem in Asia. You have, these massive deserts, you have steppes, you have mountains, you have Arctic, you have rainforest, you have savanna, everything is there. It has incredible wildlife. When it comes to bears, it is hands down the best. 6 of the world's 8 bear species are all found in Asia. So, and there's a few that are only found there, including giant pandas, sun bears, Asiatic black bears, and sloth bears. So half of the world's bear species you can only find in Asia, which...
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good stat. It's going to be really hard for me to pick a top 5 from Asia. For snakes, I'm going to give it to Asia. Or no, sorry, I gave it to Africa. I'm going to give second to Asia. Some of my favorite snakes are there. You got king cobras. You got Indian cobras or spectacled cobras. You've got the blue insularis viper that we saw in Komodo. Tons of variation of snakes. Really cool crates there. Just like incredible snake life throughout Asia. Especially some hot spots are like Indonesia, India, China has like Mengshen vipers, which are really cool looking. So yeah, birds is number 1 for me. Got to be Asia. There are an incredible number of birds in Asia, again, because there are so many ecosystems there. So I could just talk about birds in Asia all day, but they have like pittas, they have the Himalayan monal, they have bearded vultures. There's just like, my head's exploding just thinking about all the birds in Asia,
Oh no.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Put it back together like that one egg.
Take a break.
I think just because of the vast size of the continent, the fact that it includes the Indian subcontinent, which has incredible wildlife, that includes Indonesia and like all these different islands. Like it's impossible to beat Asia for wildlife. It just has the coolest wildlife. It just does. So that's where I'm coming from with my argument for Asia. And yeah, those are my 3 categories. Should we do our top 5s?
So wait, you got them ranked first for bears, first for birds, second for snakes?
Second for snakes. And that's a personal preference for African snakes. But I think if you were looking at like number of species and diversity, you'd probably have to give it to Asia too. Yeah.
Yeah. There's one that I'm kind of like, I think I could maybe choose something else, but I'll save it for last. So I have tiger easily, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have orangutan, snow leopard, giant panda. So there's 4. And then my 5th one, I put red pandas. And I think I could be talked out of red pandas, but I like having them in there because I think of them when I think of Asia.
Yeah. We have very similar lists. So I also had tiger, giant panda, snow leopard, and red panda. Those are all the same. Wow. I dropped orangutans for king cobra because it is the longest venomous snake on the planet. I think they're incredible snakes, and I wanted reptiles to be included in a top 5 of Asia.
Wes gets it. The cobra is just, I mean, you got to have a cobra in there.
Yeah, cool.
For birds, they don't really have like any huge birds, right?
Huge birds.
Like,
I mean, they have
Africa
like they don't have
Australia. I mean, Africa has ostrich, and then like Australia.
The bird family you're talking about are the ratites. So Asia does have cassowaries, and they belong in that family.
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
What the heck?
So there's a northern cassowary, and you can find them in like Raja Ampat. Some of the Indonesian islands have cassowaries.
Oh. Are they cool? Are they just
They
as
are
cool?
They're really cool. Yeah, they're even more brightly colored than the southern cassowary. So
Well, dude, what in the world?
yeah,
What are you talking about Australia cassowaries
this is what I'm
for?
saying, guys. Asia, like almost every animal that we're talking about when it comes to like Africa and Australia and stuff, there's a variant of it in Asia. It's just really hard to beat Asia unless you're like a huge fan of South American wildlife. Because even a lot of our North American wildlife, like our most iconic North American wildlife, most of those animals you can also find in Asia.
What country would you say has the best primates? There's 3 main ones.
Country?
South America, continent.
Continent?
South America, Africa, or Asia?
I'd say Asia.
Gorillas and chimpanzees in Africa.
I know. Africa would be my next pick, but with the orangutans, gibbons, those Chinese snub-nosed monkeys, all the different, like, I think I have to give it to Asia. But that's just me. Yeah.
Stay hydrated without the sugar, food dye, and other dodgy ingredients found in popular electrolyte and sports drinks. I recently went to the doctor. They're like, hey, we're not saying you have a problem yet, but we're getting there. And I was like, I got to find a good way to stay hydrated with something healthy and ideally something that'll get rid of those hunger pangs. And it was right there in front of me the whole time. It's Element. Element is a zero sugar electrolyte drink mix and sparkling electrolyte drink born from the growing body of research revealing that optimal health outcomes occur at sodium levels 2 to 3 times government recommendations. I think my doctor would he's like, don't eat sugar. And I was like, that sounds impossible. But with Element, I've kind of been able to do it. It's just the perfect mix of salty and sweet for me to satisfy whenever I get those cravings. And again, zero sugar. I'm doing great. Each serving delivers a meaningful dose of electrolytes too. So again, staying optimally hydrated takes more than just water. It takes electrolytes too. You've been hearing us talk about Element for a long time now, and you're going to keep hearing us talk about it because we all love it here at Tooth and Claw. We believe in it, and pretty much everyone that we've shared it with turns out to really like it too. So receive a free Element sample pack with any order when you purchase through our custom URL. You can just give it a try and see how it makes you feel. Element has a world-class customer service team, and if there's any reason you're not satisfied, they'll take care of you. Go to drinklmnt.com/tooth. Thank you, Element, for sponsoring this episode.
If something's been off in the bedroom, you're not the only one. A lot of guys wait longer than they need to take action. The difference now? Getting real treatment is simple, and through Hims, it's 100% online. HIMSS connects you with licensed healthcare providers online, giving you simple access to legitimate ED treatment from home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines. That includes generic for Viagra, available through HIMSS at up to 95% less than brand name version. And if that option isn't right for you, there are additional treatment options available, so you can find what works best for your body. It's straightforward, transparent, and designed to make getting care feel easy. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/tooth. That's hims.com/tooth for your free online visit. hims.com/tooth. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris Specialty LLC, a Viatris company. HIMSS Inc. is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris Specialty LLC. All right, let's move to Antarctica. So,
we're tied up on our top 5.
I can start.
It's 3-3.
Or no, Wes, you start.
I'll start.
Or Mike, you start.
I'll start. We got penguins. You gotta go penguins, Antarctica. It's like the one thing you can just with a bullet say they've got. Hourglass dolphins are apparently, this is really kind of the only part of the world you can find them. Colossal squid, the most massive, meaning heaviest cephalopod, that's down in Antarctica. They're longer ones, but they're none that get heavier. These things are just like a chunk, 1,000 pounds plus. And that's really cool. And I think you're probably right. We give seals to Antarctica. I'm going to do a little bit of a tie thing. I'm going to cheat here. Like, they're just a huge variety of different species of seals down there, and they're all amazing and beautiful in their own way, except for elephant seals.
You didn't like elephant seals?
I don't think I did. It made me really uncomfortable to be close to them.
Okay.
Huh.
They smelled really bad, and it's like they don't look comfortable. They slept like they all had sleep apnea. It was really stressing me out. They're making weird sounds and like rolling around and crawling on top of each other. It was like a weird scene, so I had to move on pretty quick. Anyway, any other sea life do you think we should attribute to?
I mean, like, it's a huge place for whales. You know, it's like,
Of course.
Like if you're a whale fan, Antarctica is definitely a destination you should check out.
There.
Yeah, so humpback whales, blue whales, minke whales, sei whales. There's a lot of really cool whale species there, and just the quantity. Orcas, dolphins.
Not really dolphins.
I mean, there are, but like I thought the dolphins that are there are really cool. Like I thought those hourglass dolphins were
like,
really cool.
They don't go to Antarctica. Like they don't go that. Like, you know, they kind of stop halfway through the Drake Passage.
But what we learned was like halfway through the Drake is when you're actually considered to be in like the territory of Antarctica. So I do think they're considered Antarctic
I just
wildlife.
think it's noteworthy that they kind of stop, and that's the most southern dolphin.
Well, orcas are dolphins.
You're right.
Prehistoric animals, I think, are really fun to shout out. So there's something kind of recently identified called an elasmosaur. And just think of the Pokemon Lapras, just like a huge, kind of a Loch Ness monster type of thing. Long neck, plesiosaur, I guess is the more scientific comp we can make. The Colossus penguin, just penguins, but huge. Like twice as big as emperor penguins, is so freaking sweet to me. An ancient duck.
Okay.
You got that? 69 million year old fossil, a duck skull. So there you got that. And the mythological creature I want to shout out. So this is kind of an interesting one because there's no people haven't really traditionally ever lived on Antarctica. So there aren't like, myths per se, and it's much more heavily skewed towards the cryptid side of things. And there are a couple of genuine cryptid stories that have been developing over the recent 100 or so years. The Thing, honestly, that's about as famous a cryptid as you can get from Antarctica. These are all just stories we're all telling anyway, so I think The Thing kind of counts. But I want to shout out Antarctic Godzilla. So in 1958, there was a crew, a Japanese ship called the Soya, and they were all relaxing on the bridge when a huge black object appeared on the surface of the sea 300 meters away. At first, some thought it might be an oil drum abandoned by a vessel ahead of them, but they soon realized that an oil drum couldn't possibly stand perpendicular to the sea surface in a wind speed of 7 to 8 meters. As everyone looked on, the now more visibly hairy object turned towards the Soya, and as they approached, what they now realized was some sort of creature with a long neck and large head that resembled a monkey's, had dorsal spikes lining its back, and a body roughly shaped like a cow. So an engineer, he took off, he ran to grab his camera, but by the time he got back, of course, it had disappeared. But the story's been perpetuated with more recent sightings and other, just like not confirmation, but people seeing similar things around Antarctica as they've voyaged down there. And I just think it's kind of fun that, like, you know, a continent that's more recently been discovered and explored is now developing a mythology of its own. And I just think that's a fun idea.
I like that. We're kind of seeing it happen in real time because there was no like indigenous people there.
Exactly.
It was fun being there and like having them show us places that were named by explorers and not having to kind of feel a sense of guilt when they were talking about it.
Right.
All right. You want me to go, Jeff?
I can go next.
Okay.
So for dogs, I want to talk a little bit about the race to the South Pole.
Okay.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So there's a Norwegian team led by Roald Amundsen.
Amundsen.
Yeah.
Then there was, at the same time, a British expedition led by Captain Robert Falcon Scott, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So he was very opposed to using dogs to like transport all of their materials and stuff. He thought that was cheating and that it wasn't like a noble English endeavor to get to the South Pole using dogs. The Norwegian party led by Amundsen, they were using dogs. And it was interesting because Scott brought dogs with him and he brought electric sleds. So it's not like, I don't know, it's not like he was going just like the show alone or something,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
He
Scott's
still had
like,
stuff, but it's like we have to push the sleds ourselves to like say we really made it there. And lo and behold, the dogs got the Norwegian party there a lot faster. They chose a better route. And once the British group arrived, they had already like seen the Norwegian flag and seen that it had already been discovered.
They were like drat when they saw that.
Like,
So that's what I got for Antarctic dogs.
Okay.
And then for
Plus
cats,
that movie with Paul Walker, 8 Below. Let's not forget
is that in Antarctica?
Yeah.
Cats, there's like British research teams that were set up in Antarctica, and they'd always have a pet cat. And one cat like fell off of the equipment that like this big tower it used to perch on, and then something fell on it and he died. And then they got another cat, and for like 20 years there's a cat at their research station, and it was just killing so many baby birds like all the time. It would just hunt
That's not
birds.
good. Yeah.
So one of the researchers eventually is like, we're researching birds as part of our research. Like, we can't just have a cat killing all of these birds.
It's crazy that took eventually for that to happen.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's Tubby the cat. Shout out.
shout out Tubby.
And then for bugs, there's no bugs. Nah,
Yeah, there
Peter's
is.
yelling
Come on,
at me right now. The Antarctic gnat. So what the gnat is...
Two.
Huh?
There's the midge, too. The midge was the one Peter really wanted
Oh,
to see.
yeah, the midge. I always mix midge with gnat.
Yeah.
So there's the
there
Antarctic
is a gnat, too.
midge, which is the only land animal considered to be a land animal in Antarctica because it just
Great.
like stays there. It doesn't go to the ocean, so it's actually the only Antarctic
Terrestrial.
terrestrial animal is the Antarctic midge. Sorry, I said gnat. And we didn't see any, so we gotta go back.
Yeah. Go back to those midges.
But yeah, very exciting stuff. These midges. Peter really wanted to see one, and we had to give him his money back. I
We
think.
gave him his money back because
Yeah.
he didn't see any midges. Yeah. All right. For bears, there are no bears in Antarctica, and as far as I know, they have never existed in Antarctica. There are no snakes in Antarctica, and there probably used to be back when it was like Gondwana land, back before Pangea split up, but now there are no snakes. And then Birds, there are birds in Antarctica, but I did still rank it 7th. I think there are people that really want to go birding in Antarctica, and it's a big draw for birders, but it's because you're only going to see certain birds there. But there's really not a high diversity of bird life. I remember looking at the list when I was down there, and it was like less than 100 species total that you can see down there. Less than 50, I believe. There are some cool notable standouts, though, penguins being like the biggest of those. Like, if you want to see good penguins, it's hard to beat Antarctica and like South Georgia. And
they didn't
are
disappoint.
They didn't.
They just had such a joyful time watching them.
I never was that into penguins, and Antarctica converted me. I think they're so cool, and watching them
so
on land be all like dopey and goofy, and then in the water being incredibly streamlined and beautiful. They're just amazing animals.
They're kind of like the primates of birds. Just like an animal you could watch all day because they're kind of silly, and then but then when they want to be, they can be really graceful.
Yeah. There's also like the wandering albatross is found in Antarctica. It has the largest wingspan of any bird on the planet. And when you see them next to people, you get a real feel for just how big they are. Lots of other great birds. Sheathbills, which are kind of this weird mix between like a vulture and a seabird. So there are some really cool birds in Antarctica, but I still rank them 7th overall. All right.
Okay.
Should we do our top 5s?
Yeah.
Oh, it all comes down to this.
So I have the midge. I have emperor penguins. I have elephant seals. I have leopard seals. And I have albatrosses.
Okay. Just any albatross?
What's the ones we saw?
We saw southern royal, and black-browed.
Black-browed albatross is mine.
Okay. I picked king penguins over emperor penguins because they're about the same size, but I think their orange coloring is like a lot prettier.
Wow.
I picked leopard seals. I think they're amazing. I picked the B2 orcas. They're found in Antarctica, and they're the ones that have learned to do the waves to push seals off of ice floes, which I think is really neat. And they have those cool colorings like that cape that you only get in the Antarctic orcas. I picked the wandering albatross specifically because it does have the largest wingspan of any bird on the planet. And then I also picked humpback whales because there's one named after me, and because it's just such a cool place to see them down there. I mean, I think they're like an amazing, incredible whale. So I picked humpbacks for Antarctica. So actually, that is...
Was that 5?
That's 5.
Okay.
King penguins, leopard seals, orcas, wandering albatross, and humpback whales.
Yeah, Wes wins that one pretty handily. Good try, Jeff. But there's something about king penguins that's always done it for me. And it's probably what Wes is saying. There's something, they're kind of overlooked, and I always like the underdog, you know.
Cool. And you don't like elephant seals. So I get some candy. Some candy.
Yeah.
All right. So real quick, before we get to categories, let's just say, as far as wildlife goes and just our travels, let's each rank all 7 continents.
Okay. I've got them ranked here. For me, I'll go top to bottom. Asia's number 1. It's a pretty easy win for me. Then Africa, then South America, then Australia, North America, Europe, and Antarctica.
Okay. I'm going to go...
Actually, no, I'm going to switch Antarctica and Europe. I'm going to go Antarctica, Europe.
Yeah. Europe's last for me. And then it's really hard for me to put Antarctica only 6 because it's so cool.
So
and
incredible.
Everywhere you look, there's wildlife. But there's just not enough diversity. You're right. So I think... it's just hard.
The quantity, it's incredible. But the diversity, it's not. Go with your heart, man.
I'm going to put Antarctica 6, Australia 5th, then North America 4th, South America 3rd, Asia 2nd, Africa 1st.
Okay. Mike, I'm curious about yours.
I'm pretty biased. You guys know where my heart really lies. It's in the water. So I think I'm actually going to go... I mean, my favorite scuba diving is still in Mexico, but I'm not putting I'm going to go Asia, South America, North America, Australia, Africa, Antarctica, Europe.
Okay.
All right. So
I think Asia on average wins, right?
Yeah.
and Europe on average is completely
Loses.
last.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to our categories. So, what's like your most memorable food from each continent? I'll start. So I did, or favorite. I did like personal experience, and I didn't want to do like where I live, so I chose corn tortillas in Guatemala. In South America, I liked my Galapagos lobster that I had a lot, where it's like
Okay.
the first
Yeah.
day of lobster season at that one restaurant.
Mhm.
And then, and it felt like sustainable, which made it nice to eat a lobster. Asia, I'm going to go that soup dumpling thing we had in Singapore recently,
Yeah.
Good.
but close second for Kobe beef in Japan. Australia was my hardest one. I just put ice cream because I remember eating some ice cream.
It's
That
good
was
ice cream.
Europe, a sandwich we had in Rome that was just so good. And then Africa, I had some lamb chops in Kenya that were just delicious. And Antarctica, I went with the banana smoothies that our boat made.
Yeah. Great. North America, I picked birria tacos or tacos al pastor. Definitely Mexican food for me in North America is my favorite. South America, I picked feijoada, which is like a Brazilian black bean soup that you put on rice that I think is incredibly delicious. Europe, I picked gnocchi, usually with like a vodka sauce or like a red sauce is probably my favorite thing to eat in Europe. But I love Italian food especially, so that's a hard one to pick. In Africa, South Africa does like a braai, which is a type of barbecue. It's just really a fun, like good barbecue system, and they often do them like at sundown, which is really fun. So an African braai, a South African braai. In Asia, I picked the miso ramen that I had in Tokyo. In Australia, I picked Tim Tams, the little chocolate
Oh, they're
cookies.
so good. That's such a good pick. Oh, man.
And Antarctica, I picked krill for all the animals that are eating.
What?
all
You did
that
that
krill.
too? I did
Yeah.
krill as well. Okay. So we'll double up on that one.
Yeah.
North America, I did probably a bad job, but I did New York style pizza. I know it's just so good.
That's a good pick. It's hard to beat a good New York
Classic.
slice. you know?
Yeah. South America, I just put Brazilian barbecue.
Yeah, sure.
Is that? I mean, that's like a million different things,
Yeah,
kind of. But
Churrasco is like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Europe raclette. It's like a really melty cheese kind of dish. You do your little dishes and you pour out your cheese over potatoes and meats and stuff. Is really great. Asia, I'm going pad thai, which is a real upset, but it was all I could think about when I thought about food from Asia. Australia, I put violet crumble.
Oh, yeah.
They're so
That's a good
freaking
pick.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Antarctica, I'll go with the that one potato we ate.
Oh, that made me sick for like 3 days.
Oh my gosh.
Tasted like eating a big old tonsil stone.
It's the
I
worst.
can finally talk about it.
All
All right.
Favorite movie in each continent? I did it like some of mine are American movies that were just filmed in different continents, but
Okay.
I'm excited to. I hope you guys. I left it open ended, so
Yeah, I did
Great.
not do that, but
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
I really wanted to pick Apocalypto for North America, but I just didn't know for sure where it was even set, so I ended up just saying King of New York, which I feel like is not
Apocalypto
a
would
good
have counted, but yeah.
answer. Okay. I'll do Apocalypto then. And then
Okay.
South America, I kind of cheated too because I said Narcos, which is a show, but I just love that show so much about Colombia. And it made me want to go there like more than any movie or show. And then next I have The Raid from Indonesia, like one of my top 5 movies of all time. And then I have Mad Max Fury Road for Australia. I have Inglourious Bastards for Europe. I have Ghost in the Darkness for for Africa. And The Thing for Antarctica.
Okay. I picked Jurassic Park for North America. I picked City of God for South America.
Ooh.
Brazilian production. Paddington 2 for Europe.
Nice. That's
I
a
picked
good
the
call.
Battle of Algiers for Africa. I watched it a long time ago, but I haven't watched it since, and I actually really want to because I know it was a big inspiration for one battle after another, and they talk about it a lot. But I will admit, when I first watched it, a lot of it went over my head, but I do like want to try and rewatch it. I had a hard time with Africa picking one. And then
Lion King would be a good one.
Asia.
Ooh, yeah.
I am gonna go with The Handmaiden. It was between that or Parasite, but I think The Handmaiden is one that I kind of like going back to more, and not in a horny way, in just like it's a really good movie. So, Australia, I picked Lord of the Rings. It was made in New Zealand. New Zealand production company, so I think it counts. And Antarctica, I also picked The Thing, because there really isn't there isn't movies that are non-American movies that are shot there, I don't think. Yeah, that's it. Although it was in the Arctic, it was in Antarctica. It was the Arctic. Yeah.
Antarctica, I'm going to give it to At the Mountain of Madness. The long storied production hell fiasco that Guillermo was close to maybe sort of almost getting into producing, just so I don't have to pick The Thing like everyone else. But it would be The Thing. For Australia, I'm going Razorback. Jaws on Trotters. That movie kicks. Oh my gosh. You guys didn't like it, and that breaks my heart.
Jeff liked it. I was mediocre on it. Yeah.
Asia, I'm going to go In the Mood for Love or Yi Yi. I can't pick, but Tony Leung and Maggie Cheung in The Mood for Love are like the two most attractive people that maybe have ever lived. So let's just go with that one. Africa, District 9. I think it was a New Zealand production technically, but it took place in Johannesburg. I think it was filmed in South Africa, so I'll go with that one. Europe, The Conformist. It's an incredible, beautiful, terrifying, very prescient movie, still relevant to this day. 4 Days in September for South America. It would be City of God, but I knew Wes was going to go with that one. And anything with Alan Arkin in it's going to do it for me. And then North America, I'm going The Matrix. It's my favorite movie.
All right, let's get some listener questions and then close this thing out. So Jeremy Rabinold says, if aliens had... You talked the most by far. I was quick.
He also had the most assignments.
You made this so long, Mike. If aliens had to land on one of the 7 continents, which would you pick first for contact?
One of the 7 continents, which I would pick first, I'd pick Australia. Yeah. I think Australians are like of everyone that I've met, like the highest batting average for just being like really friendly and happy people. And I want them to meet someone that's friendly and happy.
I think the Independence Day aliens did it the right way. They just showed up everywhere all at once and just blasted everybody. Just took care of all the monuments and buildings and stuff. So that's what I would recommend they do.
Just clean house.
I'm going to say Antarctica, just so like they think there's no life here. Yeah, they're like, well, it's just birds. Like, let's go.
This place is cold.
This place sucks.
I want them to get out of here.
No, they would be like, this is the most beautiful place in the world, but it's also cold and there's just birds. Yeah.
They'd take all the ice with them, and then we wouldn't have to worry about it melting. It would be good. Then we wouldn't flood.
Yeah. It's a good point.
It would not be good. But yeah, okay.
Liv Likes Frogs says, which continent has seen your worst poop?
North America.
Yeah, it's Thailand, so Asia for me.
Yours is Mexico, right, Wes?
Yeah.
Yours is Thailand, Mike?
Yeah.
I had to get like...
You got to tell that story sometime.
I had to get comforted in the Guatemala airport. Someone was like, you'll be all right, man. TXN Peach says, where's the coolest place you've pooped?
I mean, watching a snow leopard in the Himalayas is pretty hard for me to beat.
Just
like I made eye contact with that snow leopard while I was pooping. So yeah, it's probably that one for me.
Yeah. For me, it's Mexico. Watching the whales while I pooped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me. I guess close to the Great Wall of China. It wasn't on the ground. It was a toilet, but it was still pretty
Asia
close.
Asia has the best toilets, but they're normally in like a little room with no view, you know?
Right. Yeah. So that's what I was in a room with no view, but that wall was close. So that's cool.
All right. We didn't really go over this completely. So Elise Chavelouine asks, which continent has the most venomous animals / insects? Do you think Australia kind of gets the most?
They get the fame for it. I would honestly, it might be Australia if we're expanding insects to like all arthropods.
Yeah.
So like including arachnids, it might be Australia. They've got the most spider. Yeah.
NZ asks what continent's the most biodiverse.
Asia.
And then, is there an animal that can be found on all 7 continents?
Like a single species? No.
Yeah. Red fox is close.
Antarctica, though, is the one that like removes it.
Midge?
There's animals that can be found on 6.
Midge?
But yeah, not in Antarctica. The biodiversity thing, I should rewind because the Amazon might make South America more biodiverse. But as far as like, I would still think it's Asia. And as far as like animals that we are aware, that we know of, like not little insects and stuff that are like in the human collective consciousness, it's Asia.
And then last one, Lisa's Lions wants to know if you're excited for Easter candy season, Wes.
I have been way too excited for it. I'm like getting a little soft because I've been eating so much Easter candy. So I have not had the restraint I've had in past years.
What's your main go-to?
This is going to sound gross to a lot of people. I really like Cadbury cream eggs, like the full-size ones.
I just got some because I was thinking of you.
They're good.
I like the mini ones, though. The big ones have too much stuff in them.
I like them. I like robin eggs. I like the little Cadbury chocolate eggs. I like so much Easter candy. Starburst, jelly beans, Peeps. There's so many good things out there.
All right, that's it for the episode. Thank you everyone for listening. And thank you for all of our travelers who have helped us get to all 7 of these continents.
Yeah, we do. For those of you who haven't been able to join us yet, we have some really fun trips lined up for next year. We're trying to do budgets to kind of fit a lot of different income levels and everything, just so people can make it if you want to. We know they're really competitive. There's just we can only do so many. So hopefully if you want to go on one, you can get on one. And we definitely we want to keep going to places that we really want to go to so that we're equally as excited for these trips. So we are going to continue going places that are sometimes a little hard to get to, but we're really excited for them.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Love you.
We'll see you guys. Love you.
See ya.
Bye.